Don't even get me started on bronze. You want to rant? I mean, oh god. You know that thing with the gold and being overpriced? Bronze is inferior to like all the other materials. Like steel beats it like every measure, but bronze wins because it kind of looks like gold. That's literally the value. It's basically like celebrated fake gold with a bunch of downsides like discoloration and being super soft. Like it's a prototyper's material that someone said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made actual production watches with it? Just like we pretend that steel is no longer cool and, I don't know, carbon is valuable.
Greetings and welcome to this week's aBlogtoWatch Weekly. Now with extra hit miss maybe. Ariel has just informed me that now when you go to the website, you can now play hit miss maybe on every article you find. So even these show notes, so if you like the show, you can give it a hit, and if you didn't like it, just give it a miss or a maybe. Ariel, have you enjoyed playing along? Did you enjoy finding new emojis on the website?
Well, we were going to change them anyways, and I was just, I listened to the logic of we just might as well make it hit miss maybe. That was just seemed to be more popular than what we had for a while. So now they call them reactions, and that they're at the end above the comments. And if you want to comment, that's great. But it seems to go well here, and we hope that you're able to do that in each individual article. And if you want, Richard will tell you more. We got the this live thing we got going on.
Yeah, so we record the show, if you're listening, whenever you're listening to this, about 7:30 on a Tuesday morning, normally. And at about 8:15,
time
we
zones,
go live
sir.
On time zones. Okay, what am I in? Is it Greenwich Mean Time just now, or I never. UK time.
Because it's
go
definitely
Google.
not 7:30 in the morning where I am.
No. Google 7:30 a.m. Tuesday UK, and the internet will tell you the right answer.
Or just ask, where's Rick right now?
Where's
Alexa always
hashtag
knows.
Alexa knows everything. So if you're around at 7:30 on a Tuesday morning, then when we start, then at about 8:15 on the aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live YouTube channel, you can watch us play Hit Miss Maybe live with a group of people who join us. It's around about 8:15. Well, let's face it, we've only done this once. We managed to get everyone to turn up on time last week. Whether they turn up on time this week, who knows? So you might need to hang around for a wee minute, but you can always watch an old episode and join in the chat with your own Hit Miss Maybe. So yeah, do go and check out that YouTube channel and check out the main aBlogtoWatch YouTube channel as well. David, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, geez. I'm writing a bunch of hands-on articles that we still have remaining. It's just burning through, a backlog. I mean, we've been publishing so many articles, and yet, there's always more to write about.
Yeah. Now,
which is a nice problem to have.
One thing that there was to write about this past week, and we're going to play Hit Miss maybe on this watch later on, so we will hold back our comments on what we actually think of the watch. I'm more interested in what we think as to the future, which is Blancpain Swatch, Scuba, 50 Fathoms, Ocean of Storms watch. They liked the 5 oceans so much they had to invent a 6th one to produce a new watch. What do we think? Do we think this is it gone too far?
It's
Does
pretty.
somebody need to do it? Do they need an intervention? Does somebody at Swatch need an intervention?
I mean, this is I think they waited for this version because they knew it would be one of the more popular ones. It's got very conservative colors. It's got the black. It doesn't look as cheap, right? Because it's not like a colorful plastic. It's black, and that could be colored metal for all you know. So
Yeah.
I think it's got.
Which it
Yeah,
isn't.
well, it's not, but it's at least has that more mature look at that fun price point. So I think this one will do well. I'm still not that into this because I love the design. The 50 Fathoms is a gorgeous design, but I'm too mature of a watch enthusiast to feel that this is the movement I want to wear. So this is really fantastic for a young type of buyer, but I think for us who's more seasoned enthusiasts, while we love the concept, it's just not enough for us.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I don't think that, I wouldn't say that seasoned watching enthusiasts won't be buying this. I'm sure many of them will buy it, but, these will end up sooner or later in a drawer precisely for the reason that Ariel mentioned. So I think they will sell a lot to, some of the folks out there who have been, watch enthusiasts for some time. But at the same time, it also has to be said that, just looking at the comments, on our social media, in the at our articles, and also on the Swatch social media, people are freaking out over these. I think that this is over in the sense that like it's become cool to hate this thing, and the fact that there's a new one every once in a while, and so there's this ever stronger and more powerful backlash every time there's a new Moon Swatch or a new Blancpain Swatch 50 Fathoms, which is something interesting to think about.
Do you think that it's actually bringing folk into being collectors? Like, do you actually think it is moving the needle on people going, oh, we bought the Moon Swatch at 400 notes and this at 400 or whatever it is. Yes, I'm now going to go and buy a Maurice Lacroix, a Christopher Ward, a Speedmaster. Do you think it's actually having that impact, or is it just its own market and the crossover is really not come into play?
I think it's part of that process. I mean, when the Apple Watch arrived, we all said that it's going to be great in the sense that it will help folks experience wearing watches, especially the younger generation who's not grown up wearing a watch because they've already had a phone or whatever else, or they were just simply not attracted to it. So they would just go out and buy an Apple Watch, change the dials, change the straps, and get a feeling of what it's like to wear a watch. And then I think a natural way of progressing from that point is a mechanical watch. And what else than this? Because you get to be, you get to roll with the cool kids in the sense that like, oh, it's like actually a luxury watch, but I got it for $400, but I get to experience the design. And it also works in the sense that they don't have to go out and buy fakes if they want to experience what an actual luxury watch design is like, sort of on the wrist, right? So I think it's part of that progression, and in that sense, it's great that Swatch Group is providing this opportunity for them. That's where I see this.
Does the Apple Watch set the tone in terms of pricing? Like, an Apple Watch is what, $800-900, the top end one, maybe that kind of price. Is that making an impact in people's mindset that, yeah, I've bought an Apple Watch for, let's say, $1,000, just for the sake of easy maths. Therefore, I view £1,000 Apple Watch as being a luxury product. So something that is in that region, price-wise, is therefore also a luxury product. Whereas we might say, well, actually, you need to get into £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 watches before you're really getting into the luxury, the more bespoke, the better movements, the better history of watches. So has the Apple pricing structure actually kind of set the bar now as to what's considered luxury?
From what I've seen, the data seems to suggest that it's actually all over the place. You have some people whose bar, like you said, is set by their smartwatches. You have other people who have no idea why a smartwatch costs as much as a traditional watch. And then likewise, you have some people who have no idea why a traditional watch costs as much as a smartwatch because it's inherently does so much less.
Yeah.
So you have, it depends on your education. And it's not like a pejorative sense. It's literally just like depends sort of where you got into watches from. You're going to have a very different idea about pricing. As we know, to really quote unquote accept pricing, you just have to like look at the diversity and be like, okay, this stuff here costs about this costs this, and just to kind of, it's all over the place, right? Like when you talk about car prices, you're like 80,000, that's okay, but then for a car, you'd expect way more car for 80,000 than that. So, I think that what you're saying makes sense, but as we've seen, consumers are very okay having these like total different categories in their mind, even if fundamentally they're talking about the same stuff, right? It's like why they'll spend so much more in a particular fancy bag, whereas every other person woman would buy, no, she would never spend more than like $100 or $200.
And is that changing? Or is it just ever going to be there? Is there any sign that actually, as more information is available, as more information is it's easier to come by from the likes of aBlogtoWatch and, everyone
so
on the Sun's got a podcast,
yeah. So,
that it's actually getting more information is leading to, why am I paying $6,000 for a
whatever? Here's what you see. You see consumers have these like list of priorities, right? It's sort of like what's more important, the watch or the iPad? That's like a traditional thing that the brands like to talk about. So consumers and everyone has their own list of priorities. They build this list in their mind and they're like, when I get an extra few $100s, few thousand, whatever, I buy based upon my list of priorities. If I have the computer, gadget, or whatever, I'll then go buy the watch. But if I haven't had a new gadget or something in a while, that takes a high priority. The more money you have, the more you can go down your list of priorities and buy more of that stuff. The less money you have, the less available money you have for things that are not at the very top of your list. That's sort of the way it works.
Cool. Yeah, so we've got the 50 Fathoms, with the Swifty Fathoms. We also had a comment in our little WhatsApp group that we have at aBlogtoWatch from Eric, who was suggesting a conversation about just what is happening at the next level up, especially in stainless steel sports watches. He is noticing, I think we're all probably noticing, that the price, put it this way, suddenly discounts are back. Suddenly, you go into a shop, you inquire, and you're not having to ask for, well, do you think you could give us a wee... I mean, it used to be, do you think you could give us a cap with that, or a tote bag, or an extra strap? Now it's like, the AD is saying, oh, I can probably get you 10% off of that, without even asking. Now, okay, we're not talking about Rolex, but pretty much everybody else, the discount is back. Are you seeing that in your various marketplaces, Ariel, David?
Well, I wrote an article now more than a month ago talking about how we've now entered a buyer's market again versus the seller's market. It hasn't published yet, but really the circumstances are the same. I mean, we're moving away from a place where people had as much disposable money to spend on watches, and people were buying very indiscriminately. There was a couple of years, especially during the pandemic, where like, if it was a new mechanical watch and it was available to you, it was just being purchased. So retailers got addicted to this circumstance where all they needed to do was have something available, and because there was a fervor around watches, people would buy them. We're just seeing a return to how things used to be, which is there's a couple of very hot models. Most watches, will sell if pushed a little bit, and some, I mean, you got to cut the price down by 70% before anybody flinches. And that's just sort of always the way it's been. It's nothing weird. So all we really have is a return to a more predictable, normal circumstance. And we had a strange bubble situation that, again, was never supposed to last.
Yeah, I mean, Eric's talking here in the wee message sent into the group. Laureatos, Chapex, Bath Scaffs, Big Bangs, all cash discounts suddenly appearing.
I mean, these same watches, the same a couple, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you want to get a Big Bang, of course you're going to ask. They're going to give you a big discount. A Blancpain, nobody goes in and gets excited about a Blancpain 7 years ago. It's just, I mean, they're good, but no one's like, do you have it? Is it in yet? Is it in? Like, do you have the piece? No, they're like, oh well, 30. I don't know. I mean, no one's heard of the thing. That's just how it's always been. So we're just seeing a return to form.
Is it just a return to form? So is it just that everyone's who lost their marbles has suddenly found their marbles again? Or is there also an element of, wait a minute, I now have a watch drawer with 30 watches in it. I really don't need another one. So it's not only is it a discount because that's the way it always used to be. You always ask for a discount, but actually, it's now not that interesting. It's now a kind of one in. I mean, the number of people I've spoken to that now have a kind of one in, one out policy that never existed 5 years ago during COVID. It was just everything in. And now it's like, well, I'm not going to buy another thing, not only if I don't get a discount, but I need to move something on first.
Okay, so first of all, it's a good point you bring up. It's a very good point. And usually when people have that policy, as you mentioned, it's because they want to sell that one before they make space for the new one, right? It's just like, I got to moderate the spending here. I think the three of us will agree, and if you challenge me if you don't agree, but if you had unlimited resources, you would just keep buying, okay? You'd never be like, I bought too many watches. You'd be like, man, I'll take as many watches as I can get. If you had the space and resources, you'd never be like, gee, I don't know about this. You would just go, you'd go crazy like an 8-year-old in like a chocolate factory, okay? So,
that's what I do.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is these people who talk about slowing down, it's economic related. That's fine. No shame on them. The economy is slowing in a lot of ways. So we're just hearing people still loving their hobby, but getting real practical. I don't have as much money flowing around. I got to be more stable. And when money comes back, if it does for some people, which it's statistically likely to, they'll ramp up their buying again. But it goes back to what I said, and what we need to talk about more is there is still no easy way of liquidating these things unless everyone becomes an eBay expert and goes ahead and like makes fancy pictures and listings. It's still unclear what's going on. Most dealers only want the easy to sell stuff, and what do we now know? Stuff is becoming harder to sell. So finding a place to liquidate your watches so you can buy more is more important today than it has been in the last, in my opinion, 10 years.
Well, that brings on to maybe a slight tweak that we're starting to see in the market, and we'll look at that tweak by reviewing the Longines Master Collection GMT in 18 karat gold. Now, I've been doing a bit of reading about this, not just about this watch, but about how much more does it cost to produce a gold watch over a non-gold watch? So what is the markup still the same? It's just that it's gold, so gold is X percentage more than steel, so the watch is X percent more than the price of the steel watch. I think it's pretty clear that that's not the rationale that watch brands take.
Don't you dare touch that veil. Don't move that veil.
There is a particularly interesting article I came and looked at, which basically has taken a gold Rolex day date and weighed the individual bits of gold and then worked out how much that costs.
Think of the veil.
Yeah, we're cutting it down now. I'll just read these numbers to you. So the case is 18.5 grams, which in fine gold is just over €700 at the time this article was written. The bracelet, solid gold bracelet, 68 grams, which is just over €2,500. Now, a solid gold day date is not just €4,000 more expensive than a steel version of a similar watch. And point in case is this Longines, the Master Collection GMT in 18 karat gold. We've never played Guess the Price of a Longines, but we're going to do it right now. How much is a gold cased, so not a gold strap, Longines Master Collection GMT? What do you think, Ariel?
Let's see. In the past, how big is that watch?
It is. Ariel's doing the maths. He's doing the pi r squared in his head. It's 39 millimeters.
Ooh, that throws off a little bit. I was thinking this one of those 44 millimeter ones. I know, like 10 years ago, they used to be about 9 or 10 grand. So I'll say about 15.
Yeah. So 14.2 in terms of pounds. Whereas a Longines Master Collection GMT, let's just have a look. We need to have a wee look on the website. Oh, it's another, massive good grief. I should have done this hours ago before trying to find a watch on a brand website. I have no idea.
I love the arguments the brands make when you challenge their gold watches. They're like, well, we have to buy more gold than that to machine the parts. I'm like, do they buy back the unused gold? They're like, yes.
So possibly the closest equivalent in stainless steel is a 38 mil, which is not a GMT, but that's $2.5 grand. And the automatic stainless steels chronographs are like 3.5. So it's a 10 grand markup.
You know, we need to have on the show to interview about this. Circa the year, I don't know, 1500, a Spanish conquistador, and just be like, what's up with gold, man? Like, there's not that much you can do with it. Not yet. I don't think you're making like, like non-corrosive, electrical connectors. What are you guys so obsessed with gold for? You're conquering the planet for this stuff. Like, what's up with that? Like, maybe that individual will tell you. I don't know.
It is responsible, but it would appear there's about a 10-time markup on the fact that it's gold, let alone the markup on making.
I go back to the statement about us having limited money. You would just drape yourself with gold. Your desk chair, it would be gold.
Okay, this chair. See the kind of gold hue in my chair, my door behind me. Obviously it's already there. So what do we think about this Longines though?
I don't know who buys this, but there are people out there that are like, okay, I want a serious watch, but that no one cares I have the gold version of it, right? So there has to be a group of people that are like, Swiss made gold, great. And there are these communities. For us, you know that if you went to a watch enthusiast circle, the steel version of this would get way more kudos than the gold version. People would be like, so why did you buy the gold? If it's like a day date, it's like a Rolex day date, it doesn't come in steel. That's the point. But when something does come in steel and you choose the gold, and there's one rationale I've ever heard. One, and this was someone in my life who was a real human being. They just said,
sure?
That's what they said. If it's not gold or platinum, it's not touching my body. That was their rule. They had the money, and it was just gold or platinum watches, a bunch of Rolexes, a lot of platinum day dates, and stuff like that. And he just had this rule, like, it's got to be gold or platinum if it touches my body. Okay, sir. Touche.
I suppose that is a mantra to live by.
Yeah, but otherwise, this watch, it doesn't gain you cred. No one's like, oh man, you got the gold version. So like, Longines great, but it'd have to be something that they only make in gold for me to get excited about it.
Yeah, I think getting back to why gold caught on, I think it was, it had to be it had to do something with the fact that it was non-corrosive at the time. Like they didn't have stainless materials or anything like that. And you couldn't dissolve it. I mean, anything other than mercury, I guess. So already, at earlier stages of metallurgy, I think they were finding that, okay, this does something else that no other metal does. But why it caught on to the extent to which it did, like you said, they were not doing any like semiconductors or whatever else. It's hard to tell, but it's stuck around with us. I mean, it's still here, and of course, you have a very limited quantity, and it's difficult to find more. So probably that's another thing. Unlike with diamonds,
for
example,
and I mean, they say there's something like if you were to gather all the gold that could ever be mined or has, I'm not quite sure which is. It's something like a 50 by 50 meter room, which is quite extraordinary.
This sounds like a highly scientific deduction, doesn't it? Clearly, this data exists. We know all the mineral content in the Earth's crust.
Guess the price of the sale. Guess the amount of gold in the earth. Yeah. So, maybe it is. You're probably right. It probably is, shall we say, big gold that are pushing this particular myth. But I thought it was interesting that just how it's obnoxious, just how obnoxious the markup on gold is when it's contained in a wristwatch. It is crazy.
Hi, this is Ariel Adams, founder of aBlogtoWatch, with a message about eBay. I visit eBay daily and have been relying on eBay to learn about and acquire watches for more than 20 years. Did you know that you can now buy watches directly from brands or their authorized dealers on eBay? Timepieces coveted by watch enthusiasts from brands like Zodiac, Laco, Parallel, and more are part of eBay's Certified by Brand program. Here's how it works. Luxury names are partnering with eBay to bring brand new and pre-owned watches and other luxury accessories directly to you. Certified by Brand includes a minimum 1-year factory warranty for watches and offers an unprecedented selection of new and used watches directly from the source, all with the peace of mind you can expect from eBay. Visit ebay.com/certified by brand for more information.
Bronze is not quite so marked up. Oris Big Crown Pointer Date Father Time Limited Edition. Gents, have you ever watched a cricket match?
No.
Never in my life.
Would you like to watch a cricket match?
I heard they take a
I'm
long
not sure if
time.
I could.
They can take they can take anywhere from about 2 or 3 hours, kind of baseballish length, to like 5 days. Yes, it is possible. It is a sport to which it is defined. The version of it is defined by how long it takes, which is
I don't want to sit
like
through anything that takes that long. I'd rather be doing something. Can I play cricket?
I mean, I don't think they let you on. It's not like come now. It's like this guy. Come on down, Ariel. It's your turn.
I don't know. It seems like a very big field. The ball can't be everywhere at the same time.
That's right. Just the crowd all standing there. So Oris, which is an unusual sponsorship. A Swiss watch brand is the official timer of the Marylebone Cricket Club, the MCC, which is where the rules of cricket. Well, I'm not.
They're trying to get us so they knew. I know Oris is being like, we can't afford those other sports, but you know what? We're banking on cricket making a big comeback around the world. Or I don't know if it's ever.
I mean, it's the
anytime now.
We're gonna be in on the ground floor of this, guys. It's gonna be huge.
If all the motorsports cease to exist, and the NBA, and the NFL, and the NHL, it's us right after that.
Well, I do wonder. I pose this question now. Let me try and not get Oris mixed up in the world of fake watches, but for some reason, this India does seem to be the home of a lot of Orises. Whenever you go on some watch retail sites, you see a lot of these. You're going, why is that a £50 Oris? What's going on here? And that's India. India is the largest player of cricket in the world. It's the largest, most populous country.
I'm still
in the
going
world
with
now.
the Bangalore Watch Company. They did the cricket watch. They're from India.
Yeah.
I mean, Oris. I mean, come on. Like, if you want to sponsor the event, but like to say you're making a cricket watch, like. I don't even know what cricket culture is. So you had to be like, tell me the cricket aesthetic, other than those weird knee armor pieces they have. I have no idea.
Knee armor. Shin pads, Ariel. Shin pads. And knee armor. Yeah, I mean, what's the aesthetic of cricket? I mean, it depends on what kind of game
is it
you're
like
going
British
to.
colonialist? Like, what are they going for?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, you do generally identify the people that play cricket by the countries that play cricket by the countries. It's not big in America. It's not big in South America. All places that either we got beaten or we never went to in the first place.
So when you win, you take cricket and then you morph it into something insane like American football, okay?
Yes, that's it.
Doesn't Oris have more credibility? They do the baseball. Stick with the base. Is it every sport that you do with a stick? I mean, what is it?
The Shinty Oris. Oris, if you're listening, if you want to be introduced to top class Shinty team, I happen to be involved.
Lacrosse is next.
With one, so lacrosse. It's a niche. It's a niche. We sponsor the sports with big sticks.
Make the watch design niche, not the marketing.
What do we think of the watch design? I quite like this. I'm not sure the extent to which it will survive impact with nature. The bronze.
Don't even get me started on bronze. You want to rant? I mean, oh god. Talking about
yes, we always like a rant.
You know that thing with the gold and the being overpriced?
Uh-huh.
Bronze is inferior to like all the other materials. Like steel beats it like every measure, but bronze wins because it kind of looks like gold. That's literally the value. It's basically like celebrated fake gold with a bunch of downsides like discoloration and being super soft. Like it's a prototyper's material that someone said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we made actual production watches with it? Just like we pretend that steel is no longer cool and I don't know, carbon is valuable.
So, Ariel, rate your substances from, and I mean watch case substances, not substances of any other nature.
Look,
from top to bottom.
Look, steel is hard to beat. Okay, titanium in a lot of ways is fantastic. Ceramic, super cool. I mean, these are the materials that like you should mostly be basing things around. It's what is super scratch resistant. What is going to maintain color and things like that. All these other things, like, they're cool for look and texture, but people need to be thinking about this like fashion. Like, is this a material that suits your pants well? Is it like denim? Is it meant to not rip? Or does it just look cool and the first time you wash it, it's going to look crappy afterwards? And people need to think that way a little bit because the watchmakers, like, some of them will protect you, but like, right now, we've entered a time where someone will make an incredibly expensive watch that will look bad in a week and nobody cares. Okay? Like, we are now in that era. Like, that carbon, whatever case you think is amazing, the wrong scratch, it's going to have like a white gash through it that no one can do anything about other than replace the case. And you can't be like, but this is all this money. This is, durable material. No, man. Like, no one's aware of this stuff. Steel, you could just polish out. It's an amazing thing that I'd forgotten about, you know how like we forgot about how black watches are cool? It'll come back.
There's a reason why humanity has not stopped at bronze. They were not like, oh, this is so great. I guess we're done here.
We're done.
It was a transitional age.
Let's not push this any further. It literally cannot get any better.
Oh dear. Have you guys got much experience at wearing bronze watches? I have very little, only like wearing press samples when they actually are nice looking. Have you ever owned a bronze watch that you've worn for a long time?
Sure.
And do you go green?
You need to be around a lot of salt. What amuses me is the people that they basically put chemicals on the watch. It's like in the hopes that it goes even more green because they're bored or something, and they're always disappointed. No one's like, man, my watch went so green. It's like, oh, I made it too green. I couldn't turn the bezel. Oh, it looked like crap afterwards. What was I thinking? And I'm just like, what is this perverse exercise? Like, how bored are you in your hobby that it's like it's like a kid. Like my son goes and he buys like, oh, it's like slime in a bag. I get to put it in my fingers and it stains stuff. Like how is this transcended towards adults buying expensive luxury watches?
We're looking at you, Panerai Bronzo owners.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of Panerai, what is gold tech? Where's the tech? And you also have platinum tech. Where's the tech?
Go on, explain it to us. It's better than calling it pro.
Why don't they just call it gold or platinum? Because
gold.
That's exactly what it is.
Because you can't trademark. No, listen, you're a trademark attorney, Ariel.
What are they trademarking, though?
You can't trademark it. I don't know.
That it
They
came
just think
from
it's
Panerai?
important.
That this is a gold watch from Panerai? Doesn't Panerai in the beginning of the title, is that not enough? Who's like, hey, did you get my gold tech? No one says that.
Listen, us Panerai owners love the fact that we have a wee TM written on our watch. Leave us alone.
Yeah, but the TM is different. It's for trade dress on the little, on your Luminor thing.
Yeah. The Luminor thing. The Crown Guard, Ariel, the Crown Guard.
But now this is a separate trademark they have on gold tech. How did they get it? What does it even mean?
We own all the gold. All the gold is ours.
So
leave us alone. Ariel, you reviewed the Frederique Constant Highlife Worldtimer times Ace Jewelers Amsterdam limited edition. First of all, tell us about Ace Jewelers, because you're quite familiar with the guys there.
It's a store in Amsterdam that really likes selling watches.
It's a bit more than that, is it not?
Yeah.
There are a couple of characters involved at Ace that we've seen from time to time. Have you not interviewed on Superlative?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people that run the business are enthusiastic. They care about the watch industry. They care about publishing. They care about internet technology. It's really one of the first sort of e-commerce sites. It would be a terrible place without Ace. So even though they're just in Amsterdam, they sell watches to a lot of places. And when they work with a brand, they do a great job. They've done a lot of unique limited editions just for them. Even before it was popular, they were doing it with brands like Nomos, and they've done a couple of exclusives with Frederique Constant, and this was their version of the Highlife Worldtime, and it actually is, in my opinion, nicer than the stock version because it removes the not so attractive, in my opinion, dial design, and the Ace version adds sort of a nice sporty look with just a little bit of decoration. I know the Highlife watch. It's difficult for a lot of people to get excited about it because it's not like love at first sight, but it's really comfortable. It sort of sells itself on the wrist. So I've actually found myself wearing this watch a lot more than I thought. It's very comfortable. It feels more high-end than most Frederique Constants. Just the polishing has done really, really well. And, it's got a lot of cred. It's got the in-house movement. I'd say the only downside, it's got nothing to do with Ace, it's a Frederique Constant decision, is the subsidiary date dial overlaps the Worldtime area with the city ring. So if you want to read the time just under where the date disc is, you can't because it's blocking it. And I think that'll affect a small number of people.
People in Anchorage?
Well, it depends what your home time is, right? Because with the home time, the whole thing changes. Right. So it's very unclear if this will ever matter to you, but it's just sort of a very strange design trade-off. But other than that quirk, it's a pretty solid watch at a pretty solid price, all things considered. We're talking about, basic three-hand watches from major brands costing $7,000, and this is still sort of just over $4,000 range for all this, and this interchangeable strap with a matching integrated steel bracelet. So I thought there was a lot of watch here. I enjoyed it, and like I said, the Ace version of the Frederique Constant Highlife Worldtime is currently the best one.
Yeah, one of your things about collaborations is, does the collaborator bring something to the watch that the watch brand couldn't have done? Now, I agree with you. I think this watch is much better than the original, but I'm not sure that Frederique Constant couldn't have come up with this themselves if they just sat and thought about what are the problems.
Those 3 X's
with the
on
original.
the dial, they never would have done that themselves.
They never had 3 X's.
No.
The 3 X's is significant because it's a Dutch thing or an Ace Jewelers thing?
Amsterdam thing.
It's an Amsterdam thing. I've never been to Amsterdam. I'm obviously missing Triple X. Is that not a movie?
I mean,
Triple X.
Where I grew up, that was like pornography, Triple X, right? And then apparently it was like alcohol. I think it's like anything indecent.
Right.
You know, I guess that's what it is. There's a reason Amsterdam and stuff like that. There's a whole history I won't get into, but that's a good thing in Amsterdam, the 3 X's is my point.
Right. Okay. And do we think that the tightly wound people at Frederique Constant understand that that's what the 3 X's mean?
Well, given the CEO is Dutch, I would say yes.
Ah, right. Okay,
and
right.
the founder of the company is Dutch, you know, so.
Right, okay. So they are aware of it. It's not that they've snuck in something rude into the the Japanese.
But that would be, you know, that helps sell watches. You think maybe they need to do an erotic watch. Is that where you're going with this?
I'm not going anywhere with this.
Okay.
I think it's a nice watch. I'm not sure it's $4,000 worth. I think you need to have some appreciation of the fact that it's its own movement. And I think, as you say, you need to really be able to try it on to think.
I mean, how much are Worldtimers? I know Ball has a relatively inexpensive one.
Yeah.
But there's actually, I mean, there's maybe there's, again, like I said, others that may be cheaper, but not that much cheaper for a Worldtimer.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Cool. Ariel, a watch you reviewed, the Armin Strom mirrored forced resonance manufacture green watch edition. Or manufactured edition green watch.
Odd place for edition. That's where they decided to put it. I don't know.
Yeah. Tell me about what forced resonance is.
So there's this principle, and it's never really been proven. And the idea is that if you have 2 balance wheels operating literally next to each other, their rate will harmonize, and that principle, which they call resonance, will help fix errors. So it's a theoretical thing to help improve accuracy over time. And this watch is one of a small number on the high-end market. This is actually the most affordable from what I can recall. There's sort of one by MB&F. There's one that's FP Journe has one. They all work a little bit differently. They're not all true resonance things. But the idea is that, again, this if you just put 2 of them next to each other, there has been findings that they resonate, and this is called a resonance in watchmaking. So this is a watch that tries to do that. Does it work? Does it make it more accurate? I don't know. They won't tell me, but that's the idea.
David, any experience with Armin Strom?
Not much, strangely. I've seen them, a fair number of times at watch fairs and exhibitions and stuff. I've never had one in for review. This looks great. I like this interesting arch-shaped piece that connects the 2 balance wheels to better harmonize them. Because from what I remember with FP Journe, for example, the 2 balance wheels were much closer together. They were almost touching. And that way they would harmonize through maybe air friction or the resonance through the plates or something like that. But here we have a mechanical connection, which is quite cool. Ariel, you said that this has never been proven. It would be cool to see how that actually works, through like slow motion cameras and whatever. But of course, this really helps when the watch is experiencing or is exposed to shocks and stuff. So of course, it's very difficult to tell. But somehow, it would be fun to experiment.
Well, one of the things I used to figure out is how long it would take 2 balance wheels to resonate, because you don't just put them next to each other and they synchronize. It takes a little while. That's an interesting area right there. Yeah. It's just how long and there's multiple factors if it happens at all.
I mean, it's a very pretty thing to watch, even if it is completely ineffective at doing what it's supposed to. It's the animation
mechanical
that it gives
romance,
to watch. Your bigger mechanical romance last week, Ariel. You're just continuing this theme. This is a romantic watch. You're going to romance people with an Armin Strom. Good stuff. Cool. Well, go and check that all out and everything else I've spoken about at aBlogtoWatch.com. We are now going to try and go live, so if you're listening to this now and you didn't come into the live, then you're not going to be able to watch it live, but you'll be able to watch the recording, if that makes any sense. So pay a visit to aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live on YouTube, and you'll get to see everybody's smiley faces and the smiley faces of 4 gentlemen that I'm about to let in. So let's see if this works. Greetings, everybody. Well, if this is working and has worked, then some of you will be listening to this on the podcast, and some of you may even be watching this live at the aBlogtoWatch Weekly Live YouTube channel. So to get us started, we're going to see who we've got here this morning. So first up, David, where are you and what are you wearing?
That's right. I'm in Budapest and I'm wearing this sweatshirt. That's all for today. Since I'm home and we already talked about this, that I don't wear a watch at home.
Don't wear watches at home. It's just
not much.
A ridiculous concept. Ripley,
Yes.
Where are you and what are you wearing?
I'm in Los Angeles. It's a bit after midnight. So I took off my Garmin, which I was wearing because it's my alarm clock. And I put on the IWC Pilot's Watch Chronograph 41 on this colorful
Very
strap
nice.
habit thing. It's I believe it's called the IME as far as it matches everything, but it's I just like it because it's colorful.
Good. Leslie, where are you? What are you wearing?
I'm in Dublin, Ireland, and I am wearing a Breitling Transocean.
Very nice.
Cheap at an auction recently.
Oh, very good. Very good. Always fun to get a bargain. Will, where are you? What are you wearing?
I'm in Kent in England, and I'm wearing the Rolex Milgauss, the GV.
Very nice indeed. Who else have we got? Anchor, where are you and what are you wearing on the wrist?
Good afternoon from Nepal. I'm wearing the Reverso Duo Face.
Every week somebody comes on wearing a Reverso just to tease me, don't they? Ariel, where are you and what are you wearing?
I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm wearing the latest G-Shock Rangeman. This is the one that has all the sort of smartwatch features, heart rate monitor, stuff like that, but it looks cool and not like a fitness watch. So there's a lot to learn about this, and it's yellow, and I like it.
Very good, very good. And I'm in Scotland and I'm wearing a Panerai because that's just how I roll. So there we have it. Good. Right, let's play Hit Miss Maybe. And this week we are going to start off with everyone's favourite, or maybe not, the Blancpain. Let me share a screen. The Blancpain 50 Fathoms Swatch Scuba 50 Black Ocean Storms. Something it's just named after an ocean that doesn't even exist on the Earth. So hands up, who's worn one of these or worn a moon swatch?
I own one of these. I own the Arctic one, the brown and orange one.
All right, okay. So it's your fault, is what you're saying.
So wait, is this one called the oil spill?
No. It's based on an ocean that doesn't exist on Earth. So they already made Earth's oceans with the original launch. So they needed more oceans. So they looked to the moon for an ocean. Now there's no water on the moon, but it does have Maria. So we kind of have the largest one of those lending its inspiration to this. So if the moon had an ocean, it would be this.
Pretty sure we have a Black Sea.
Well, that's a sea, Ariel. It's a sea. This needs to be an ocean.
Hey, it's at least 91 meters deep, isn't it? Come on.
Yes.
Well, if we open up to all bodies of water, then,
I'm just saying, before you go to a different planet or something.
They should find all the bodies of water that are exactly 91 meters
Isn't there a bunch
deep.
of water under our crust or something? I mean, come on. We have no shortage of this stuff on our planet.
Well, it is funny that they have chosen a non-body of water at all. You know, it might be the ocean
for a dive
equivalent.
watch.
Yeah, it might be the ocean equivalent on the moon, but you know, I thought the moon was Omega's thing.
They can't keep their story straight.
Yeah. Well, let's give it a wee vote then. So on the count of 3, get your paperwork ready. Is it a hit, a miss, or a maybe? 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 3 maybes, 2 hits, and 2 misses. Okay, David, why is it a maybe?
It's a maybe because I like the looks. It's a cool looking watch. I'm not really sure about the concept and the repetition in the way that they are. They just keep on releasing these every once in a while. So execution, so, but the looks, is a hit for me.
Ariel, how did you vote?
I said maybe. I mean, the design is great, and I say that as someone who, well, likes the 50 Fathoms. I don't want a $15,000 version, and I don't want a $400 version. I'd like a $2,000 or $3,000 version, so that's my sweet spot.
Ariel, always after the watch that doesn't actually exist.
That's how I have to keep searching.
Ripley, how did you vote?
I said it's a hit. So it's a hit for me, but not because it would be the watch I'd buy. I think it's a good-looking watch. I think it's probably the best-looking and most versatile among all of the 50 Fathom Swatch ones. But for me, if I'm buying, it just seems like a plastic version of a $15,000 Blancpain, where I'm the guy who got the Yellow Moon Swatch because the whole point of getting one of those was to get something that doesn't exist in Omega's catalog. I didn't just want a cheaper plastic version of an Omega. I wanted something that didn't exist in Omega's catalog. And with this, I wanted something that didn't exist in Blancpain's catalog. That's why I ponied up the $400 for this orange and brown tan thing with the vintage dial. I kind of like the fun novelty aspect of it. It's, you can read my full review on the website. There's a couple thousand words there about it. But, for this one, it's a hit for me because contrary to my personal preferences, most people prefer the traditional colored moon swatches. So for this one, I mean, Blancpain's going to be printing money as they sell these off for $400 a pop, and this is probably going to be the most popular one because it really is the one that you could wear on a daily basis as your everyday watch.
Here's a question. Where does Blancpain make more money? Selling one of these or a strap?
Ripley, I want to challenge as to whether you're just saying this is a hit to support the resale price of the one that you own.
I do not care about resale value of any watch. It's all theoretical to me. People always ask me, like, what if the watches became worth nothing? I'd say that'd be great. I could buy up all the ones I can't afford now, so.
You can't service it, so it will become worth nothing.
It's only a matter of months.
No, but it comes with a 2-year warranty. You get a 2-year warranty on it. So for at least 2 years, you're covered. And then after that, then it might become worthless.
They'll just replace it. I love it.
So the countdown to destruction. Leslie, how did you vote and why?
It just annoyed me. I voted miss because, it's landfill. Look, if it was a quartz movement, at least you could swap out the quartz. You could find a way to open the thing, unglue it or whatever. But you can't do anything with the System 51. And so they just annoy me. We should go back to making real watches and stop making this. It's just landfill. If you want to spend $400, it's too much. It's too much. I've no interest. It looked pretty enough, but I would never wear it. I would never advise anyone to buy it. I don't get it. I just don't care.
Will, how much do you care?
I voted it a hit because I really like the look of it. I didn't want to like it for some reason, some very probably snobby reason, but I really liked it.
Says the man surrounded by a gold painting in the background.
It's all stolen stuff as well. It reminded me that I went to the Dubai Mall in April last year, and I had a look around, and most of the watch shops were really super busy, IWC, etc. But the only one that was really empty and quiet was the Blancpain one, and it was the most beautiful one, and it was really sad. And when I kind of approached the shop, the guy looked so excited and so smiley, and he gave me lots and lots of, not a free watch, but lots and lots of stuff, and he was like really passionate about it. And I think that's kind of obviously been Blancpain's problem, is that it's not appealing to another generation. So yeah, but I like this, and I just want to try and feel it in the flesh, really, I suppose. But I voted it a hit. I like it. I like the look of it.
So you didn't go into the Blancpain boutique in Dubai and say, "You sell any swatches in here?" and just to get his reaction.
You know what you really need is a plastic, very cheap version.
That'd get folk interested.
I did do that in Las Vegas, and they were not at all thrilled by my inquiry. I saw the briefcase in the window. And figured, inquire to see if they sold them. They do not. It was there for promotional purposes, so I politely left because I don't have $15,000.
What does it mean when, to encourage customers in your store, you advertise a different brand in the window?
Well, their name's on it too. It counts.
Sort of. Not enough for them to sell
They're
it, of
promoting
course.
something. Yeah, of course.
Okay, we are going to move on, and we're going to play Hit Miss maybe on a vintage watch. Well, does it technically qualify as vintage? We're gonna go back in time and pretend that we're at the original formation, the original launch of the first Seiko, the SBWA001 spring drive, the first spring drive that was launched. So let's get some pictures. They're kindly provided by Anthony, who took some pictures of these watches. Do check out his website at plus9time.com. So let's share some images for a moment. So there you go. There's the original spring drive as modelled by Anthony. And what I want you to imagine is that you are there at the release of this watch and you're playing Hit Miss maybe back in the day. So you're not allowed to vote on it on the basis of all the history that's occurred and all the nice cuddly feelings you may have towards Seiko, Grand Seiko or Spring Drive. You're looking at this fresh on the day of release and you're giving an opinion. And what is your opinion if you see this watch on day one? I should also say that Anchor has had to disappear momentarily. He may be back. So on the count of three, you see this for the first time. Is it a hit, a miss, or a maybe? We have 3 hits, 2 maybes, and a miss. Frankly, I think I'm the only one that's telling the truth. That you see this for the first time, you go, no, this is pretty ugly, it's asymmetric, what is this nonsense about spring drive? This'll never work. This'll never take off or get the respect it deserves. But David, why would you have voted this as a hit on day one?
Yeah, I just tried to picture myself seeing this borderline futuristic alien looking watch and the bracelet with those little lugs and springs and stuff showing. I think it's kind of cool. It has, again, this like Ripley kind of vibe to it from the Alien movies. I quite like that. I think it's very cool. And the technology is just bonkers. I mean, I would have tried to wrap my head around it in 1999, just how it worked. So it's definitely a hit for me.
Still not convinced. Who's up? Ariel, how did you vote and why did you vote?
I vote hit. First of all, this is coming off the era of backward jeans, and they said, hey, let's just put the lug bar on the top there all backwards. So I was like, okay, way to think a little bit forward there, Seiko. Look, the spring drive mechanism, and I was there at Seiko, and I saw way too much detail. It took them like 30 years to get done. They tried to do this for 30 years. It was such a big deal when they finally made it work. The right mixture, they called it the break, literally stopping the spring from unraveling and generating enough power to operate a quartz oscillator. Like, that was just so freaking hard to do, and getting it right was just fantastic. For them, it was like the ultimate hybrid between what we love about mechanical watches and the accuracy of quartz. And it's still to this day, the greatest hybrid movement, from the country that later brought you the Prius, which is, basically the greatest of the hybrid cars, love it or not. It's still super legible. It's sporty. Okay, it's got that asymmetric part, but, lots of spring drives have had that since. And so this really is a merger of an era of watches that really ended in sort of around 2000 and the next generation and so much stuff that came after. So it's definitely a transitional product. It wasn't even automatic. It wasn't until much later in, I think, Grand Seiko that they brought back a manually wound version of the spring drive as a much higher end thing. So it has a lot of novelty in the sense that it doesn't have that element. It's 3 days of power reserve. It's got a power reserve indicator. So it's okay as manually wound. Really nicely finished, for a movement like that. So as a collector, I'm just wowed by something like this. I really want this in my collection.
Ripley, how did you vote and why did you vote that way?
I mean, it's a hit. How can it not be a hit? How often does a new movement come out? So if a new version of a spring drive that was totally pioneering and not like anything else really from a conceptual standpoint came out today, I would say it's a hit just because some brand went through the trouble of making that in the first place and didn't just do another Swiss lever escapement. Now, from an aesthetic point of view, we look at that into 2024 going, oh, I don't know if I'd necessarily wear that. But look back at that era. Like, the tag link was the bee's knees back at that time. And like, look at that today. That bracelet did not hold up to today's standards. That would have been really, really cool. Think of what was going on in that era. It looks like some kind of bizarre Michael Bay Transformer version of a kind of a what the Seiko 5s look like today. Super cool as far as I'm concerned, especially for the time. And then if you had any doubts, just look at that case back view. That does it for me. You know, if you don't like the way it looks, flip it upside down and just look at the case back. That thing looks great.
Great. Leslie?
I know that when this came out, but I vaguely remember when it came out. I mean, I just was really skeptical about quartz at the time, and I think I would have been okay with its quartz. I know I would have gone maybe. I know I would have. I don't like the bracelet. I wouldn't have liked it then either. But I just know I would have gone maybe. I would never have gone hit. I wouldn't have gone miss either. I would have been on the fence. I would have been skeptical. I would have been, ooh, maybe. This is interesting. It's different. But yeah, I don't think I could ever have gone hit back then.
Good stuff. And Will?
I said maybe, but I'm thinking maybe more of a hit now. It captures
you're clearly the weak. You're the weak link in this team, because last week Ripley got you to change your mind, and this week he's also done a job on you. Have some backbone, man.
He wants to talk to me about a timeshare later on, so I'm a little bit nervous. It captures the aesthetic of the time. I like the watch. It's futuristic, and I'm a sucker, so I probably would have gone for this. Yeah.
Great stuff. Right, let's move along to our final watch of today, which I expect to be slightly divisive. But it will be interesting to see what everyone's views are. This is from the house of Jean-Claude Biver and Bucherer, a take on the Biver watch's timepiece. You can read the text there. Mechanical Marvin, the Carillion Tourbillon, but it's got lots of jewels on it. So I think that might have a bit of an impact on at least one member of the team here whose name starts... Actually, that's interesting. Your name starts with the same letter that it finishes, David. So we'll come to you in a minute, but let's see. Everybody, let's get a vote on whether this is a hit, a miss, or a maybe. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go. Okay, 4 hits and 2 misses. I'll very quickly say this is exactly what I expected Jean-Claude Biver to come up on day one. This is the watch you wanted when he launched this brand, just completely like covered in stuff. So I love this. Such an improvement over the standard version. It's just got that pizzazz, that enthusiasm that I just felt the original just didn't have. But what did everyone else think? David, you voted a hit. It's just because it's got shiny stuff on it, isn't it?
It's because it has shiny stuff on its case back. That's where it got me. I'm not sold on the rest of it mostly, but when I saw that case back, I was like, finally, why has it taken so long for somebody to put freaking gems into a case back? And it's here, and it was totally worth it.
Ariel?
One of the things I realized about the Biver brand is that what we expected from him as an art lover, as a collector of timepieces, as someone that likes crazy modern stuff, what he's done with his own brand, at least for now, is make watches for the retailers. These are very sellable watches. You can see a lot of consumers, they understand the complication. Tourbillon, I understand that. Minute Repeater, I understand that. Precious Stones, I understand that. There's really nothing to explain here. And it's because there's this elite group of retailers around the world that sell these outstanding timepieces that people that want to spend, on average, about $500,000 to $1 million per watch. And this is how you sell one of those without having to beg someone for 8 months. It's just, as long as you like the colors and you're into Galushat, that's the the Stingray strap, and you have that money, you're basically in. And so Biver has created a very marketable platform right now. Maybe in the future we'll see what we consider to be things that are from his heart, that really speak to him and his, maybe more artistic side. I guess the only other downside is I hope it also comes with the bracelet, or maybe you have to pay a bunch extra, because the bracelet that comes with is cool. But I guess this is the white gold version. Usually the ones are titanium. I don't know. It's hard. I think any of us, if we were handed this, we just wear it instantly.
Ripley, you say you're wearing this instantly, I assume?
Oh yeah. 1 on each wrist and 2 for each leg. Absolutely. If they've made that many pieces of this, yeah, absolutely cover me.
There's
in
like
them.
one.
I mean, if I won the lottery, I wouldn't tell anyone, but there would be signs. I'd be clad in these things. I mean, as someone who's half Japanese, give me some stingray skin. It wrapped the katanas, the traditional samurai swords. So I'm all here for it. Plus, I wear a lot of blue. Green's my favorite color. But yeah, more diamonds and sparkly stuff, more better. So absolutely, 100% for me.
I want someone to say, I wear a lot of stingray.
It's my favorite of all the Rays. Ray Winston, Stingray. Right, Leslie and Will, you both voted miss, I think, on this.
Yeah, I don't want the diamonds. I want understated. I mean, I don't want people staring at me, and I probably have a pocket
at the OPEC board meeting. That's very understated.
Yes, possibly. The money as well. My God, it's just obscene the amount of money. And I mean, those stones. If you took them out, they're only going to be worth about 50 quid. I just know.
Just
know. Well, I mean, I think of Jean-Claude Biver as someone who revives brands and does interesting things. I mean, the way he, someone who loves the concept of timekeeping. This is not about timekeeping. This is about bling and about look at the goddamn blue on my wrist. I just hate it. I'm sorry.
Just no. We should have an additional sign. Hit, miss, maybe, and just no. Will, you voted no as well.
Just no, for the very same reasons that have just been said. It's too flashy. I'm not a fan of jewels on the watch, and yeah, I think it could have been something a bit more interesting than what it was. So no, it didn't excite me at all. So it was a miss.
But it go with your jumper so well.
30 seconds with that watch on your wrist and you're changing your mind, I guarantee you.
If you send it to me, I'll do a review reluctantly, and then we'll
graciously offer.
Well, it is one of those things where I really feel like not seeing it in person, you're judging it based on like, would I wear this extravagantly priced thing? But like Ariel said, like if you see it in person, it's going to be just a visually impressive object. There's all sorts of things where I go into it thinking I would never in a million years wear that, and then I see this and I'd be like, yeah, I would rob a man and kill a man for this. This is fantastic, This secures this also secures my family's financial future, but that's that's a side.
What do we think about the stone dial? That's been something which has been on most, not all, but most. Actually, maybe all of the Carillon tourbillon so far. I think it's a nice thing. They've done it well. They have these curved pieces of rock. It's overshadowed by everything else on the watch, but I think that's quite tasteful.
And there was silence.
Yes.
Ripley clearly likes stone. He's sitting in front of a stone wall.
Yeah, I mean, do I like stone? Look at me here. Yeah, absolutely, I like some stone. No, I like a stone dial. I think, with today's manufacturing techniques and the way manufacturing as a whole is moving forward, there's going to be ways within the coming years to be able to, with the modern machines that are arriving, to really, really recreate really nice guilloche patterns and really elaborate patterns in a fully automated manner, where cutting a stone, affixing it to a dial, going through all the issues of drilling the hole and the break rate and all of that, it does express a level of craftsmanship and care and just monetary investment in the product that I think does withstand the test of time. And you see it reflected in other brands. Rolex, who's really kind of automated many aspects of their production to the point where they have their laser dials. They're moving back to stone dials because for the Day-Date collection and some high-level pieces, because it does express a level of craftsmanship and care that you can't really automate in the manner that you can an elaborately finished dial like some of the Grand Seikos. So I'm always here for a stone dial, even when it's something that I wouldn't necessarily wear on a daily basis. I love when brands do it on a high level, and this looks beautiful with the blue gems everywhere else on it.
Great stuff. Well, that is us for this week, although there is one surprise. So without knowing the watch and what Omega are about to release, you may have seen they've trailed a new Speedmaster, which it does seem like quite a long time since they launched a Speedmaster, bizarrely, because there's normally one every other week, but it does seem like it's been a while. So without even seeing the watch, is it a hit? Is it a miss? Or is it a maybe? Predict what it's going to be in your own minds. Hit, miss, maybe. We have 1, 2, 3 maybes and 3 hits, so it's a completely divisive watch. So there you go, that's probably going to be about right. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us online. Do check out the show on your podcast of choice. Do follow, like, subscribe, do all of those things to the aBlogtoWatch YouTube channel and the aBlogtoWatch weekly live channel. And join us again around about 8:15 UK time next Tuesday if you're interested in playing along. So it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from all of them.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.